Have you ever looked at someone who seems to just, effortlessly build the life they want, a successful career, strong relationships, personal growth, and you just think, what is their secret? I know I have. Well, our deep dive today kicks off with someone like that, Marcus. He stares at his reflection every morning asking exactly that question. He's read all the same books, probably the ones you have too, set ambitious goals, but he still feels, well, stuck. And then there's his friend Jake. Jake started with, frankly, fewer advantages, but he's steadily building this successful business. So what gives?
Yeah, what does the difference there? It's a really common feeling.
Okay, let's try and unpack this a bit. What if the real difference isn't some big secret like talent or luck or even circumstance? What if it's actually a series of small, conscious, daily choices, things that just compound over time?
Exactly. That's the core idea we're digging into.
So we're diving into 5 critical choices that, based on the material we looked at, seem to separate what it calls builders from dreamers.
hmm
And our mission really is to pull out some practical, actionable wisdom. How can you shift from just dreaming about the life you want to actively building it, like starting now?
That's right. And what's so compelling here, I think, is the point that these aren't usually grand, dramatic, life-altering moments. They're subtle, consistent decisions made day in, day out. And the good news is they're within your control. By understanding them, you can actually start making that shift.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The first choice. It's all about how we respond to challenges. Do we choose growth? Or do we choose, maybe subconsciously, to protect our self-image, our ego? It's a subtle fork in the road, but really profound.
Absolutely. The source material really highlights this difference. It says, builders tend to see setbacks as, well, incredibly valuable information, a chance to learn, adapt. Whereas dreamers often interpret those same setbacks as definitive proof of their inadequacy, which then leads them to kind of pull back, or maybe just give up entirely.
It's like the difference between someone who loses a game and thinks, okay, what can I learn? How do I refine my strategy? Versus someone who loses and thinks, see, I knew I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So what's the fundamental shift there? How do builders process failure differently?
Well, that fundamental shift is about seeing abilities not as fixed, like you're born with it or you're not, but as malleable, as something you can actually develop and improve.
A growth mindset, basically.
Precisely. When you adopt that growth mindset, setbacks, they aren't really failures anymore. They're just data points. Think about the sports manga examples you mentioned from the source.
Oh yeah, Nagi Seishiro and Hinata Shoyo.
Exactly. Nagi has this incredible natural talent, right? But he struggles when talent isn't enough because his whole identity is tied up in being gifted. So when real effort is required, he kind of falters.
Compared to Hinata,
Right. Hinata Shoyo, who lacks those natural advantages but thrives because his entire identity is built around getting better. His motivation isn't about being good, it's about the continuous process of improvement itself. So this core belief, fixed versus malleable abilities, it really changes everything.
it truly does. Because with that perspective, every single conversation suddenly becomes a chance to learn something. Every bit of criticism isn't an attack you need to defend against.
Right.
It's potentially an opportunity for improvement. It changes how you handle everything, learning new skills, building relationships, just because you see yourself as always capable of evolving.
Yeah, it's a really powerful distinction to make.
Okay, moving on. Our second choice. In a world that seems obsessed with being busy, trying to do everything, builders choose depth over breadth. The source makes a pretty compelling case for why we're drawn to juggling a dozen things at once. It feels productive, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That feeling of being busy, it can be addictive.
But it often leads to spreading yourself way too thin. Lots of activity, maybe, but very little actual progress or real mastery in any one area.
That's a great point. And the article gives that vivid business analogy.
Yeah, the companies.
Right. The companies that try to serve everyone often end up serving no one particularly well. They scatter their energy, different products, different customer types, loads of marketing channels. They stay busy, incredibly busy sometimes. But they just fail to build any real momentum or establish a strong, reliable foothold. It's like trying to dig 10 shallow wells instead of one really deep one.
Yeah, that makes sense. But for a lot of people, I think that intense focus feels well, counterintuitive, maybe even
Yeah.
risky. How do you get past that fear of limiting your options?
That fear is completely natural. I mean, choosing depth means saying no to things that might even look like good opportunities on the surface.
Right, saying no is hard.
It is. But this is exactly where concepts like Alex Hormozy's 1-1-1 rule come in, which the material
What
references.
is that?
The rule is pretty simple, but profound. Focus on one core product
Hmm.
for one specific customer type through one primary channel until you achieve significant success. It's basically that deep well strategy applied directly.
One product, one customer, one channel.
Okay. And the reason this kind of limitation is so powerful is because it creates this laser-like focus.
Right.
And that focus lets you build genuine expertise. You can really refine your processes, nail down what works, and you forge an undeniable reputation in a very specific niche. That depth you develop, that becomes a massive competitive advantage.
An advantage that breadth just can't match, right?
Exactly. It's about aiming to be the absolute best at one specific thing rather than just okay or mediocre at many things. It's concentrated effort leading to outsized results.
Okay, this next one.
Yeah.
This really turns a common perception on its head, I think. The third choice is about embracing your current position, even if you feel unknown or small or inexperienced, and seeing that actually as an advantage, which is tough. Because most people naturally see those things as huge disadvantages,
Right.
Things to overcome or even hide. Builders seem to flip that script entirely.
It's a complete mindset reversal, isn't it? Instead of sitting there wishing you were bigger or more established, you actively leverage the distinct benefits that come with being, well, the underdog.
So what are those benefits then?
Well, for example, being unknown, that actually gives you a freedom that big established players just don't have.
How so?
You can take risks, you can pivot really quickly, experiment with things without worrying constantly about damaging a huge reputation or answering to, board meetings and investors.
Okay, yeah. Less bureaucracy.
Way less. While a large competitor might be bogged down for months deciding something, you could literally change direction in a week based on direct feedback from your first few customers.
And what about being small?
Being small lets you offer something huge companies find almost impossible: genuine personal attention. Someone emails you, they get you. Not some generic support ticket number, not a chatbot. They get a real person who cares.
The personal touch.
Exactly. And that level of direct connection and care, that can scale your reputation far faster and more authentically than any massive marketing budget ever could.
So the real question becomes, are you playing your current position correctly? Are you actually seeing those perceived weaknesses as potential strategic advantages?
That's the core of it. Leveraging that underdog status means you can move incredibly fast. You can take calculated risks others can't. And you build these really genuine one-on-one relationships with maybe a small but super loyal group of people.
Focus on the core group first.
Precisely. The emphasis is on perfecting your approach for that group first, creating true fans, evangelists even, rather than trying to scale everything before you've even proven the concept works really well.
So serving a few exceptionally well, creating something remarkable that then naturally draws more people in.
Exactly. Instead of trying to cater to the masses poorly from the start.
Got it. Okay, our fourth choice. This one tackles, I think, one of the biggest challenges for pretty much all of us.
Yeah.
How do you get things done consistently?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when motivation inevitably dips. Builders, the source says, choose systems over relying on sheer willpower or that fleeting feeling of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fundamental shift, really, from hoping you'll feel like doing something to designing your life so the right actions happen almost automatically.
Yeah, and there's that simple but really powerful image from the source that illustrates this so well.
The gym bag.
Gym bag, packed and sitting right by the door. It perfectly captures the idea, doesn't it?
It does.
Designing your environment to make the right choice, the desired choice, the easier choice, the path of least resistance becomes the path you actually want to take.
Removing the friction.
Mm.
But why is that so powerful? Why sort of outsource your willpower to these systems?
It's incredibly powerful because discipline and willpower, they really are limited resources. You only have so much in the tank each day.
Right, you run out.
You do.
Mm.
And if you have to deplete that reserve for every single small decision, what to eat, whether to exercise, saving money, you'll burn through it fast. Builders understand this. They don't just try to power through everything with raw grit.
Okay, they do.
They use that willpower strategically. They use it to create the systems in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Systems that then reduce the need for constant daily decision-making. They make the desired action the default setting.
Okay, so give us some practical examples. What do these systems look like?
Well, the source gives some great everyday examples. Think about prepping your meals on Sunday.
Meal prep. Yep.
That's a system, right? It simplifies healthy eating for the whole week. It removes that daily what should I eat decision fatigue.
Makes sense.
Or choosing a gym that's literally 5 minutes from your home or your work. You're removing the geographical excuse before it even pops into your head.
Reduces the friction again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Automating savings is another perfect one. Setting up that automatic transfer. Your wealth building happens in the background without you needing to think about it or decide to do it every single payday.
Okay.
So the core idea really is to identify the behaviors you want
Yeah.
and then consciously engineer your environment, your schedule, your defaults to make those behaviors as easy and automatic as possible.
Make the right thing the easy thing.
You got it.
All right, finally, the fifth choice. This one is all about communication, specifically how we choose our words. Are we using them to create connection, or are we accidentally creating conflict? It's actually incredible how many people, myself included sometimes, unknowingly create barriers in conversations just by how we phrase things.
Often without even realizing the impact.
And the source highlights one tiny but incredibly powerful word.
Let me guess. But.
Exactly, the word but. Think about it. When you say something like, I like your idea, but there's a problem,
Yeah.
what does the other person actually hear?
They hear the but coming a mile away.
Right. And their brain often just cancels out everything that came before it. I like your idea, it doesn't count anymore. The but negates it and immediately puts them on the defensive. It's such a tiny word, but the impact is huge, isn't it?
Absolutely huge, because it immediately signals contradiction, negation, a problem. It shuts down the positive momentum.
So what's the fix?
Well, the solution, as the material suggests, is actually a really simple transformation. Just change that but to and.
Okay. So instead of, I like your idea, but I have concerns.
You say, I like your idea and I have some concerns to discuss, or I see where you're coming from and I'm wondering about this aspect.
Huh. I like your idea, and I have concerns.
See the difference? It maintains the value of their initial contribution, it validates it, and it allows you to constructively introduce your perspective or your questions. It creates a space for collaboration, not immediate opposition.
It's such a subtle shift, but yeah, I can feel the difference. It feels much more like, let's build on this together.
Exactly. And really, this isn't just about swapping out a single word. It points to an entire approach to conversation. Builders, in this model, tend to focus more on understanding the other person's goals first. They actively look for elements they can agree with or build upon, rather than just jumping in to point out flaws or trying to, win the argument.
Collaboration over competition and conversation.
Precisely. It makes people feel genuinely heard and valued, not just corrected or shut down. And that's how you build an environment where dialogue can actually flow productively, even when you're tackling difficult topics. Because the foundation is respect and a shared desire for progress. That's how you build strong, durable relationships and actually get things done with other people.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. What does all this mean for you listening right now? These 5 choices, growth, focus, position, systems, communication, they aren't just isolated tactics. They work together. They feed into each other to create what can seem like a magical result for people who practice them consistently. And the source really emphasizes that this effect is compounding. It builds over time.
Yes, like compound interest for your life.
Exactly. Like a growth mindset makes focus easier because setbacks don't completely derail you.
Right.
That intense focus helps you leverage your unique position, maybe being small or unknown, much more effectively. Strong systems make it easier to be reliable, which helps maintain relationships, and clear, connecting communication helps build that reputation, turning being unknown into being sought after. It's a virtuous cycle, really. Each choice reinforces the others.
That's a great way to put it. And the key takeaway, I think, is that the life you want, it probably isn't going to be built through one dramatic moment or some single stroke of amazing luck. It's constructed, brick by brick, through thousands of these small, conscious choices that align with who you ultimately want to become.
And they're not abstract concepts way out there.
Not at all. They are daily decisions, things that are fully within your control starting today.
So maybe something to think about. If you were to just pick one of these choices this week, just one to consciously practice, maybe choosing effort over protecting your ego when you get feedback, or choosing depth in one project instead of scattering your energy, what might happen?
Yeah, what might your secrets start to look like to other people? Even after just a week or two of that one small shift, how would that begin to compound in your own life?
That's the question to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you'll take these insights to heart. Because that journey from dreamer to builder, it genuinely seems to begin with examining and then intentionally shaping these kinds of everyday decisions. We'll see you next time.